You know, sales takes confidence. Whether you're new in selling or maybe you're a seasoned professional, building and sustaining our confidence is key to our success. It's not that easy to walk up to strangers and try and strike up a conversation, to reach out to people we don't know, to try and get somebody to invest their hard-earned money in something that we're trying to sell that at the end of the day may or may not completely resolve their issue, although obviously you have to commit. What I want to share with you today is the strategies and techniques that top performing sales professionals use to build and sustain, that's the key, sustain their confidence so they can sell more. Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore. I help you learn how to be a top performing sales professional so you can make more money in less time. If that sounds good to you, make sure you click the like on this button and hit the subscribe button so you can be notified each and every time I release a new video, which is typically every single week. All right, before we jump into these strategies, I wanted to share kind of a key message with you here about confidence. You've probably heard the statement, fake it until you make it.
Pretend.
Fake it?
Yeah.
Until we make it?
I mean, why not? It's either that or cry myself to sleep.
And when it comes to selling and sales, you really have to kind of fake confidence in order to gain it. What I want you to think about as I go through these steps is your inner voice. I want you to think about taking that inner voice that may be telling you you don't know enough, you're not good enough, you don't have enough experience, you don't have enough education, and set it aside. Don't worry about it. Tell it to bug off, because you have to be able to tell yourself positive things. I can do this. I'm going to learn from this experience. I will get a chance to try this again. Those are the positive messages you need to tell yourself in order to build up and almost fake that confidence in order to build it. So as we go through and as you practice this stuff, take that inner voice that's telling you you can't do this, you don't have enough education, skill, training, and squash it. And I want you to say positive things in turn. I'm not talking about staring at a mirror and yelling at yourself. I guess if that works, go ahead. But the point is, don't let that negative inner voice take over. So let's jump into the first strategy and how you can build your confidence in sales. First off, sales is activity-based, meaning that the more activities we can generate around selling, and there's multiple different kinds of activities, of course, but the more activities we can generate, the more chances we'll have to sell. In fact, if you want to be confident in sales, you need to make sure you're very clear on your daily and weekly priorities. What are you spending your time on that will ultimately lead to making sales, right? You have to be rigid with your time. Don't get sucked into all sorts of meetings and not get to your outbound calls, your outreach, your networking, etc. Because what'll happen is you won't hit your targets in activity, therefore you won't get sales and your confidence will be diminished.
I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work.
First things first, if you want to be confident, make sure you're very clear on your daily priorities and your monthly priorities and even your weekly priorities so that you don't get off track on the main activities that are going to result in you being successful in selling. When it comes to the activities and tracking those activities, there's something else you need to consider. Sales is really about goal setting. Maybe it's a revenue target for yourself. Maybe it's number of units you want to sell. When I used to sell cars, I had a goal initially of trying to sell 10 cars a month. Now, I didn't care so much as to what the commission was at first. I just wanted to sell 10 cars. Once I started selling 10 cars a month, instead of trying to get to 15 or 20, I started thinking more about the revenue I was making, the commission. And I started being very selective on which cars I tried to sell because I knew I could make more commission. I think that's natural for most of us. But when it comes to goal setting, you want to make sure the goals themselves are achievable. That's why I didn't say, well, heck, I sold 10 cars this month, let me sell 20 next month. I probably couldn't sell 20 cars the very next month. It would take some time. It would take more prospects, right? I'd have to fill the front end of my pipeline in order to get more customers at the back end. So instead, I want you to think about setting goals, whether they're number of units, whether they're, revenue targets you're going to hit, whatever the case might be, make sure you can achieve them. Okay? I'm not saying they should be easily achievable, but don't put them so far in the future that there's no chance you'll ever hit them.
I'm from the future.
Because what I find is people realize very quickly, oh, I'm not going to hit that goal, and they give up on it. So make sure it's something that, given the dedication and commitment of time, that you can reasonably achieve that goal. And make sure you don't change the goal as you move forward. I'll talk about that in just a moment. If you're enjoying these tips so far, make sure you hit that like button and comment below with your idea about how you build your confidence and sustain your confidence in sales. And click the subscribe button so you can stay up to date when I release each and every one of these videos. Always love to hear from you and tell me what you'd like me to talk about in future videos. Okay, I touched a little bit on inside voice, but I want to go a little bit further than that. You know, when it comes to the activities that you're building out, the goals that you set, you really have to be careful of how you speak to yourself, of what you say to yourself. Now, some people call that inside voice, some people call it the little green man on your shoulder, whatever the case might be. We all have this negative Nelly that tends to be telling us what we cannot achieve. Or if we do something and it doesn't pan out the way we expect, again, we get that negative feedback. I told you this wasn't gonna work, right? You've probably had this happen to yourself. I'm not a big fan of incantations and standing in front of a mirror and yelling, as I mentioned earlier, but here's the reality. What we tell ourselves is what we become. If I say to myself, look, I'm gonna be successful in sales someday and I'm gonna work hard at it every single day to get there. If that is my message and I keep reinforcing that, even on the difficult days, even on the great days, I will naturally start to work on it because I'm reinforcing my behaviors by telling myself that. You know, it's no different if you've ever played sports. If you went out to hit the baseball and you missed the first few times when you're up to bat, if you said, well, I stink, I can't hit the baseball, guess what happened? You didn't hit the baseball.
There's no crying in baseball!
But if you said, I'm going to dig in, I'm going to take feedback from my coaches, and I'm going to keep trying, eventually you hit the baseball. And then you hit it again and again. Then you'll hit it farther and harder, and on we go. But it really starts with what we tell ourselves. Now, there's a second piece to this. Don't let others affect your inner voice as well. So if you've got peers, maybe even have a boss that isn't that positive or optimistic about your success, you have to learn to shut that stuff out. You know, sales is very much a mental game. Hence why, if you really want to build confidence, you have to focus on these things about what you tell yourself, what your inside voice is, right? Because if you let those get out of control, they will start to drive you in a direction you don't want to go. So be careful what you tell yourself. Okay, aside from really being careful about what you tell yourself, what I want you to think about is building your skill set. Just like that example I mentioned earlier about maybe if it was you're trying to get good at baseball, you're trying to get better at hitting the ball, you can't just stand there and keep swinging and expect yourself to be successful. You have to go to a batting cage and practice. You have to adjust where your hands are on the bat. You have to think about how far back you bring that bat. You have to think about driving straight through the ball. You have to think about where you're looking. There's a lot of things to consider, all to hit a ball. So sales is a little more complex than hitting a ball. And so therefore, you need to continuously build your skills. My guess is you're watching this video as a way to try and build your confidence, which is building your skills. I have lots of other resources and tools on my website, www.ShawnCasemore.com. I've got a weekly Thursday Thrive filled with sales tips that you can apply. There's an exercise you can use each and every week. But make sure you fill your schedule with skill building exercise. Listen to podcasts, read, whatever it is you're comfortable with, watch videos, and continue to apply. That's how we build not only our skill set, but ultimately our confidence. So focus on developing your skills in sales, and you'll continually up your game. Okay, here's a big one. So let's say for a moment that you're started to build your skills, you're watching what you tell yourself, you're also watching what you let other people tell you. I touched on that, but it's important to reinforce that. Surround yourself with people who build you up. You know, you don't want people that tear you down. But here's the thing. When it comes to sales, when it comes to selling, we want to make sure we celebrate our wins, even if they're tiny wins. Did you plan to make 10 calls this week and you made those 10 calls maybe earlier in the week, or you made them despite having a busy week? Then celebrate that. You just got a new deal that you closed, you've been working on for months, celebrate that as well. You see, a lot of time in sales, we simply celebrate the wins, and there's going to be times when you're not winning. There's going to be slow times. There's going to be times when the economy draws back. There's going to be times maybe you don't have enough supply to be able to go out and sell to your customers. But it's during all times that we want to reinforce and reward ourselves for success. You know, it's the old idea, if you've ever had a pet, we've got a dog named Charlie, the way we train Charlie is with treats. Don't punish Charlie. If you want him to do something, you reinforce the positive behavior by giving him a treat. The more he does the behavior, the more he realizes he'll get a treat. We need to do the same with ourselves. And the way we do that is to celebrate our wins. So a win can be a deal, a win can be finishing your activities, a win can be making a call that was difficult, a win can be anything you decide it to be. And then celebrations can be simple. Maybe it's to go for a walk, maybe it's to get up from your desk, maybe it's to get a cup of coffee, maybe it's to drive to Starbucks, maybe it's to go play with your dog. The point is, we celebrate our wins, we reinforce a positive behavior that will ultimately lead to us being more successful in selling. And because we're more successful, we'll build our confidence. Now, I'm curious, I'd like to build this video out as much as possible with your comments about what you use, what strategies help you to be more confident in selling. So make sure you comment below with the strategies you're using. Now, If you want to be successful in sales and you want to stay on track with your activities, grab a copy of my 30-day action planner. It's designed for sales professionals just like you, where it allows you to break out and track all the activities you should be doing each and every week in order to achieve success. I even give you tips and strategies along the way to help you. There's no cost to it. Click the link below, grab your copy, and put it into play this week and watch your sales accelerate. What I'd like you to do is, if you're going to move forward, if you're trying to build your confidence, you have to learn how to be influential in sales. So make sure you watch this video next, where I'll teach you how you can be more influential in sales, which will allow you to sell more faster. And until next time, make sure you get on out there. Let's go sell something, shall we? Talk to you again soon. Take care.